We all love a great color grade, and I think it's something that editors and colorists try to achieve on every single project, but it's actually not that easy to achieve. So that's why I want to create this video to really show you what's worked for me, and hopefully that you will be able to learn something from this tutorial. So I'm going to show you the basic function of a color curve and what it does. Most people have seen this tool before. It's called a color curve. A lot of times we stick to the standard tool and we don't ever go deeper into the RGB side of it. And that's where the real magic happens, because you can effectively control each part of the red, green, and blue channel. What this does is allows you to get very rich organic color saturation. So I want to make this tutorial super short, so I'm going to just jump into it. Now, the basic function of a color curve is that it will allow you to create adjustments on any part of your image. So how this tool is outlaid is right here at the bottom we have our blacks and shadows, then we have our midtones, and then we have our highlights. So the way that I look at this tool is we can either take away information or we could boost information. So at the core, that's all that this tool does, but the way that you use it really determines on whether it's adding to your image or not. So let's go ahead and jump into the actual tutorial to show you a real life example of how we would use these tools. Alright, so I edit all my videos in Final Cut, but I wanted to show you this process in Lightroom because it allows you to copy and paste the exact settings for the RGB channels. You make an adjustment on the red channel and then you could copy it and then paste it to the green and blue channels, and it makes it really easy because this process can be tricky to learn in the beginning, but once you master the concept, you could take it to any editor you choose. Alright, we're going to plot the S-curve, so I'm going to use this tool right here to find the shadows, so you can kind of just see on the image where it is. I don't like to go fully to the very darkest part, somewhere like kind of towards the lower end of the spectrum so that I have something to play with. And then the midtones here, plot that for the midtones, and then these highlights. So as you can see here, we started to plot the S-curve. So depending on the style and what type of image you're working on, the amount that you adjust it is going to vary, but what I like to do is just start bringing the shadows down quite a bit, and then I start seeing the green introduced in the shadow, and that's a good place to start. I personally like more of a subtle look, and then I'm going to go over here to the highlights and start boosting the highlights to kind of start creating the S-curve. Now, here's a cool part in Lightroom. You could copy these, copy the channel settings, and then paste them. And this really takes the guesswork out of this process, and this is actually the hardest part of the whole thing. So this makes it really easy to do. So as you can see right there, it just gives it this really nice look, and then from there, once you have the S-curve on the RGB channels, you can go ahead and change these up a little bit if you want to give it more of a look, and personally I like to keep it pretty basic so that it looks as natural as possible and the skin tones are nice and clean, and you could see the before and after just gives it a really nice kind of filmic look to it. Okay, so I'm going to try it on a different image. Same process. I'm going to start with the red channel and I'm going to plot the line, so the darkest part of the image. Try and find the midtones and then the highlights. So a lot of times I like to keep the midtones untouched because most of the time that's where your skin tones are, and I generally speaking don't like to mess with that too much because it could throw off your skin tones. So with this process, I'm going to go ahead and bring the reds down. Then I'm going to boost the highlights here, just enough to where you could see the subtle change. And to me, that's a good starting point for the next channel. So I'm going to copy this, paste it. So I'm going to do this on one last image, and I'm going to repeat the process. I'm going to go ahead and bring down the shadows. I'm going to go for more of a drastic look on this one. So I'm going to bring them down quite a bit. It may not look good, but I just wanted to show you if you want to push this, what kind of results it could get you. Alright, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to copy it. So as you can see, when you push this really far, it gives you a super contrasty look, and it's not really my style, but it's pretty cool because even though it looks super contrasty, it still kind of looks natural in a way. And I think that's a really cool thing about the RGB channels, is that you can really push it and you can really get a kind of an exaggerated effect, but it kind of still looks cool. So yeah, obviously I would tone that down quite a bit, but it just gives you a lot to play with, and I think it's really cool. So I hope you guys found this tutorial helpful, and if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. And also make sure to stay tuned because I'm going to be posting more tutorials just like this.